Let's begin by taking a closer look at the structure of skin. Human skin is made up of 3 layers. There's the epidermis, the dermis and the subcutaneous layer. The outer layer, or epidermis, is the waterproof layer that protects our internal organs from outside elements and pathogens. The skin is an important barrier against infection. If we look more closely at the epidermis, we can see that it too is made up of several layers. New cells are formed in the basal or bottom layer of the epidermis. These move up through the epidermis, changing shape and composition until they reach the surface layers. By the time these cells make it to the outer layers of the epidermis, they're already dead. These dead skin cells provide a tough layer of protection against the outside world. Dead cells are regularly shed from the topmost layers of our skin. These are replaced with new cells that are always moving up through the epidermis. Let's move one layer down, deeper into the skin. Underneath the epidermis is the dermis. The epidermis is joined to the dermis by a very strong layer called a basement membrane. You can see the dermis is much thicker than the epidermis. It is made up of connective tissues that provides a cushioning effect that protects the body. The dermis has 2 layers. The outer or papillary layer contains thin, loose collagen fibers. Below this is the reticular layer. In the reticular layer, we find thick and dense collagen fibers, which make the dermis elastic and strong. Another important feature of the dermis is that it's here we find a number of accessory structures. Hair follicles, sebaceous glands, sweat glands, nerves and blood vessels can all be found in the dermis. It's through the nerve endings in the dermis that we can sense pressure, temperature or pain. These nerves carry vital information about what's happening in the world outside our body. The next of the 3 layers is subcutaneous fat. It lies on the muscle and bones, to which the whole skin structure is attached by connective tissue. The size of the subcutaneous layer varies from person to person. Of course, not everyone carries the same amount of fat. The subcutaneous layer of fat is important for temperature regulation of the skin and body. The skin is made up of 3 layers: the epidermis, dermis, and a subcutaneous layer of fat. Within these layers are accessory structures such as hair follicles, nerves, sweat glands, oil glands, and blood vessels. Together, the layers of our skin serve a vital purpose. They protect, cushion, and insulate our bodies and help us against outside conditions and threats.